The supernatural is a universal language to convey ancient wisdom. Be below as above. I am Dr. Helliday. We are all orphans of the darkness in this world that we live, till Father Darkness comes to reclaim what is his. He's the hand of the reaper, weeding through crops that tills in the garden of life scripts and plots. Some souls grow below, some souls grow above. Other souls are uprooted from the soil dripping blood. A soul of this seed gets replanted for deeds when harvested for vengeance on dark nights like these. It's the summoning of spirits Father Darkness lets through. The story of Rose and her loving mother Sue. Rose and her mother were so near and dear, their hearts shattered in pieces when Rose disappeared. When a bond is broken between two souls so close, memories haunt the flesh more than any house by ghost. Friends and family gathered while Sue passed out flyers. They secretly performed rituals holding vigils of fire. It's been almost 2 years and they all feared the worst. But Rose's birthday is tonight, and perfect for the curse of the blood rose rising with a blood moon sacrifice. So if anyone brought her harm, the price would be their life. The secret circle gathers and prepares the last recipe, the missing person's flyer, and a blood rose effigy. If any stone was left unturned or fell through the cracks, if Rose was taken from them, the spell would bring her back. The eye of the ethers sees beyond sight, sun of the day, moon of the night, light of the spirit, body and mind, travel through portals, space and through time. Wisdom of ancients, as above, so below. Father Darkness, bring your light across the threshold. With the ancient words spoken, the sacred circle closed to await blood confirmation that Rose has now rose. Meanwhile, Sue's elsewhere with dwindling hope, because no one would hear her, and she's at the end of her rope. The police did nothing, and the church did the same. Sue's being ignored, and now nearly insane. Having no other recourse, Sue's lost in despair led her to Madame Crystal at the town's psychic fair. The medium's heart broke for Sue as she listened. So emotionally invested, it blocked her from visions and drained all her energy, being so desperate to help. It's personal for Madame Crystal, being a mother herself. After tarots, Ouija boards, seances, and reflections, Madame felt a presence, but couldn't make connection. Their motherly bond resonance vibrated through the air and beaconed a dark energy, bringing it right there. The powerful Madame Crystal had pulled back the veil, but she couldn't see Rose and thought she had failed. Although grateful for her efforts, Sue left in tears to keep searching for a daughter, missing almost 2 years. Unable to help left Madame Crystal so troubled. She began to pack up, but was approached by a couple. Their warm and friendly faces detained her from leaving. She finally gave in after they begged her for a reading. She pulled out her tarots, simply to appease, still thinking of Rose and why she didn't succeed. The cards began screaming. Madame Crystal lost balance. This was the first time that's ever happened since using her talents. Father Darkness granted her backstage passage, but the signal came through very quick flashes. She cuts the couple's reading short and disengaged the two. Though very blurry, she knew the vision came for Sue. The only number on the flyer for comments or questions was for the police, but she needed another session. So she quickly finished packing to head down to the station, knowing they would have all of Sue's contact information. What did Madame Crystal see for her to act so impolite? The young couple pondered as they were leaving the site. Madame Crystal packs her things, still gathering her bearings. A man dressed in black was in the distance silently staring. But she was so focused on her vision as she walked, she didn't notice she was being followed where her car had been parked. Inside the garage was so deserted and dark. She had the strangest feeling that she was being stalked. She stopped and called out, fearing she wasn't alone. The man in black leaped out, returning her phone. With so much on her mind, she had left it behind. How fortunate for her, he was so thoughtful and kind. The man in black warned the garage wasn't safe. Then a look of pain and horror washed over his face. His mouth dropped open and started to bleed. Then his eyes lost its light as he fell to his knees. Behind him stood his killer. He too in all black, with a mask and a bloody knife he had just stuck in his back. Sadistically, he starts to lick the blood off of the blade to send Madame Crystal this warning: be very afraid. She was terrified and frozen, but in Madame Crystal's fear, she finally sees a vision, but this time crystal clear. She sees Rose on campus, walking all alone, on the very same campus the psychic fair was thrown. She sees her with a single Rose happily humming a theme in an isolated area where no one hears screams. She saw the killer's hiding place, waiting on his mark. When she walks by, he attacks and stabs her in the heart. She saw a camera filming as the knife rips through her skin. She saw the streaks of Rose's blood that splattered on the lens. She saw the killers fulfilling his deadly plan and leaving Rose's bloody body with a bloody Rose in hand. Madame's hope for Sue that Rose was still alive and healthy were crushed with the vision of Rose's spirit crying, "Help me." With that, her vision ended, completed in just seconds, the time it took the killer to lick the blood off of his weapon. Now seeing Rose's fate had ended so lethal, Madame now knows that she's in the presence of evil. The serial killer team called P&P, who film all their slaughters for web TV, a montage of the macabre, human body parts hacked off, an homage to the horrific tales of hostels from abroad, frightening images that disturb the subconscious. This is not for those alone in the dark, the faint of heart, or the nauseous. She knows his secret and yells to his face, "I know who you are," before he angrily gave chase. Madame tried to escape, but the garage was so spacious, she couldn't get distance or find good hiding places. At the very last second, before he subdued her, a Rose appeared from nowhere and tripped her pursuer, giving her a chance to break free. Then she saw a Rose too. It spoke to her, telling her exactly what to do. She caught her breath briefly, hiding behind a pillar, until she heard the approaching footsteps of the killer. She made a run for her car. He fell for the bait. When the killer got close, he was met by her mace. Stopping dead in her tracks, the killer now falls in front of a flyer arose on the wall. The killer is struggling with his eyesight corrupted since Madam did exactly as the rose had instructed. Madam's out of harm's way and the killer's at bay. Lying helplessly, the wounded predator now becomes prey. Disoriented and in pain, the killer now tries, lifting up the mask to bring relief to his eyes. When the face is revealed, we all now know the truth. It's the woman that was with the man that was just the Madam's spoof. Her name is Paula, and Philip's her partner. The darkness Madam felt were foreshadowing these barbers that kills for sport, entertainment, and obscenity. Or in this case, the paranoia the psychic uncovered their identity. They often take turns behind the camera and dagger, but Paula flew solo to handle this matter. As Philip waited in the wings, Madam turned the tables. Philip had no idea that Paula was now nearly disabled. There is nowhere to run. There is nowhere to hide. When the picture of Rose starts to materialize. Not a sound came from Rose. She didn't need to speak, as her sacrificial lamb cowers at the altar of her feet. Her spirit is back, and the spell has came into fruition. Vengeance is hers. She now completes her mission. The blood-curdling screams were so loud, some say, you can still hear them on full moons to this day. At the police station, Madam shares her ordeal, but the officers decided it just can't be for real. Until the call came that changed that decision. Philip has been arrested, and Paula was found dead with one victim. But there's still a part of her story Madam Crystal must confront. When they told her Sue had been dead for a year and 6 months. Rose and her mother were the same heart beating. When Rose disappeared, Sue simply stopped breathing. But death didn't stop her from her motherly routine of searching for Rose until she was seen. A chill went down Madam's spine, for now she knew. She hadn't just contacted Rose's spirit, but also Sue's. And Rose is still here, but Sue is at peace. But because Philip is still alive, Rose's vengeance won't cease, won't cease, won't